Is this real life? Is this?
Wait, what are they doing?
For some of us.
What are they doing?
Whoa! Do you hear a feedback? I hear something. What
Yeah,
do I
me
hear?
too.
What do I hear myself?
What?
How do I hear? Do you hear me?
Is this base reality?
I hear something.
Oh,
Is it?
there's audio on that monitor?
How do I do that?
Whoa. I don't like this.
Okay, guys, welcome to the Thursday live stream.
Get me out of this.
We are here. Tyler's not really here. He's in virtual reality. Brando's messing with the monitor.
Now we got it.
There we go.
Volume 0. I thought it was the tinfoil hat at first. I thought it was like through my teeth or something.
I literally had no idea what you were talking about.
It's always something.
You're like
it ringing. It was like feeding back through there.
Yeah. I wonder, would that have... No. What was our issue last week?
Does
There
anybody
was some
have a-
kind of buzzing with the audio, right? Like a
Yeah, I
buzz.
think there was a cable miss.
You know what doesn't get buzzing?
what's that?
API gun bags. Because they're the way they're built, they're not going to buzz.
But they
will
are the
never-
buzz. They are the buzz.
They are the buzz, but yeah, they won't. There's no,
Weird noises.
electronical stuff in
Nope.
them. Yeah, like
But they're safe.
I like to
for-
keep my things safe and secure, from 5G
I
waves,
can
not
tell.
getting in. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Vapor, not getting into my guns because they're in API gun bags.
Vapor corrosion
yeah.
inhibitor technology. Right?
If I'm walking around with a beer and I spill it on my ammo, it's not going to get in there because it's in
It's
API
gonna
gun
be
bags.
protected by the bag.
Before we
for sure.
continue,
Yes.
does anybody have like a top or something that I can test to make sure that like I'm in base reality?
I'm pretty sure you're good to go.
You want to like stab yourself?
Yeah, can I?
Will that work?
Here.
Does anybody have options? Like
Play with that.
I don't trust that I'm.
One
here.
more.
I guess another way you could test if you're in real reality, base reality,
Yes.
is through pain and
Fitness,
punishment.
yes.
Yeah, and a great way to punish yourself is
Go to Beyond Driven Fitness
yeah.
and Performance. Tyler knows all about that. We went over there on Monday and had a great workout.
I still hurt.
He's still suffering. I was
Like,
wondering
dude,
why you didn't text me yesterday at all. You were hoping I would forget.
No, I had my ladies, like, my mom just came over for Victoria's birthday to exchange gifts and
That's
stuff.
wonderful.
But, dude, at this rate, I don't even know if I can go tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like,
I hear
I
you.
could not even. Yesterday, I could hardly sit. I could hardly stand.
Well, you know why? It's because Beyond Driven Fitness has so much
it's
state-of-the-art equipment
man,
that we were able to use. So we incorporated some kettlebells, and we incorporated some elliptical machines.
We usually start on the elliptical.
And, we were able to do some rows and stuff like that on their rowing machines.
Now, I remember your old workout program, you had a hard time walking after. Is this the same?
Well, that was the one you implemented for me.
Was it good?
It was like just
Okay.
before
I
senior
wasn't
year.
part
Cut
of-
that, cut that, cut
I
that,
wasn't
cut
part
that.
of that.
The 5Gs are going to get
Well-
This hat is not sized for
That's
me.
my hat. You be nice, dude. The point. Make sure it's pointed. Don't ruin my point.
Do I do it this way?
No.
This might work better for me.
Our sponsors are so proud.
Yeah, we're getting emails right now.
They are sending us
Hey,
all
cancel the
sorts of-
sponsorship.
Yeah.
You can sponsor
It's all
us.
good.
Cut that, cut that, cut that.
As a viewer, you can subscribe to stuff. The more subscribers we get, we'll actually start doing some exclusive content. I really want to do the Mystery Science Theater 3000-esque.
Yeah.
Like, where we just watch cringy videos on YouTube
Absolutely.
and judge them.
Yeah.
But that's going to have another... We're going to have to do that on another night.
Like that
We
guy,
can't do
Garen
Thursday.
Thumb.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Dumb.
Yeah,
Stupid
we would have
content.
to we'd have to record that at a different time, but I think it would be a lot of
I think it'd be a lot of fun, too. There's actually ways to do it. Dropping a link. If you just want to support us, that's all. That's it.
If you like what we're doing and you want us to be able to continue doing
It
it
is fun.
and do more of it,
Yeah.
then support it in that way.
Speaking of supporting us, I don't know if can people scan this like during the live stream? Can they scan above Pat's
I think
head?
that's like the idea.
Can they scan that? Does
No, that
work?
was more for like customers when they walk in. Actually, I used this today.
In the store, yeah.
Somebody was like, "Hey, do you guys do a live stream?" And I'm like,
Do we?
"Look at the TV." Yeah, we do. So that's just there, like for them to scan it. Like, yeah, scan the QR code. You get our live stream.
We
Excellent.
had a lady who I would guess was probably say like my mom's age, right? So, up there, little up there maybe. Not my age, we'll say, and so not someone who would natively just know how to interact with a QR code.
Sure.
But she was so excited that was like her first QR code that she scanned, and she finally like figured it out.
She got it. She's
Yeah,
like
and I
in
was
the
like,
club now.
with our QR code. And
That's excellent.
She wanted to do range time, and I was like, yeah, that's the best way.
Yeah.
Go right on there.
QR codes
$200
are
link.
fun.
Do you want to drop the link tree?
I'll
if you haven't already.
Josiah, are you on that? You've been good. You've been good. Like usually, I'm dropping the links, but you've taken over for that. That's why I love you, dude.
It's the Hawaiian. It's the Hawaiian shirt.
For sure.
Yeah.
We gotta get a cam on him somehow.
I don't.
A
What?
Joe cam.
Oh.
Because it's Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, and a mic for him, but like our stream studio has been.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's been hindered.
I was looking at those Amish sheds for you today, my friend.
Aw.
I was thinking about you, and I was
Gonna
thinking,
put him in a shed.
I mean, housing prices
they're
are so
mini
crazy.
houses.
Like, yeah, I was just gonna drop like 5 or 6 of them out here. To all you guys that are having problems with houses, like, Brian can move out here. Yeah, you can move out here. Like, just a little
200.
I love it.
TFP
man.
commune out back.
I love it, man. I can think of some candidates that might need a spot.
Oh
I
man,
don't use the compound word.
yeah.
I like
Right.
compounds though.
I get right.
but that's yeah.
Oh,
Guns
every
and
time, right?
compounds
Every time. You
and-
can't use the C word in there.
But if
FTTF.
did we link our link tree? We got that down there.
We're
So
linking the link tree.
I love that because it sounds dumb, but that's all of our links in one place. You can find our website just to go to. You can find our Spotify links to listen to the stream. Not live, which I think is the best way to watch it.
If you're not watching it tonight.
Yeah, if you're not watching it live with us on Facebook or here experiencing this live with us on Facebook, I think experiencing it on Spotify is the best way.
For sure.
But that's
Spotify for podcasts.
Spotify for podcasters. So you can go to the moon, right?
6 minutes, we'll drop that in.
That'll be where our ad is. And I just love that you can book range time. So we have the mobile range now.
Yes.
Which is open. Anyone can come down. But we do encourage you to make an appointment, right? We're doing half-hour blocks, $8. It's really hard to beat that. Obviously, members, no charge because you're already a member. So that's all included. So members, please come on down. That kind of helps, keeps our spirits up, I'll say, of having people coming down here and shooting. And we just love that. Man, Tyler and I were down at Bontrager's a couple days ago for their preview for the auction on Tuesday. And just the hustle and the bustle. And just, it felt like we were in a gun shop.
Hey, can I see that gun?
Yeah, and
please.
we were like hustling to get it, and it was just, there was 500 guns to look at, and it was like, okay, here's this one, and here's that one, and it
felt good.
Felt good again, yeah. There was a lot of people there.
Take me
and
back.
I want to thank everyone that participated and bid on stuff at the Bontrager auction, and I hope you went away with something good. I know a lot of people got very good deals on stuff. I know some stuff went for, I don't want to say crazy prices, but more than I would have expected for stuff. So I'm appreciative of that. I don't know if people did it specifically just to help us out per se, but either way, very appreciative. That auction, it was very good to us. I have to thank Todd Jancy and his entire team over there at Bontrager Auctions again. They were amazing through all of this, and without getting into too many details, like they truly helped us survive this. Like, I don't know how we would have survived as we are now, like retaining all of the staff and just keeping things how they are. I think without their support, we probably wouldn't have been able to open right away like we did. We probably would have had to shut down with an unknown side effect to the crew here. I mean, they can, some of the guys maybe I could have paid, like the full-time guys, but some of the part-time guys, I don't know if I could have been able to.
Right.
Like I wanted to, like what needed to happen. Insurance takes a while. That's the whole reason. I mean, trust me, things have been happening here. Everybody that came out this past weekend knows a lot of stuff happened, and I want to thank that crew again that came out on Saturday and Sunday, Friday too, and gave us some of their time. We're pretty much ready for demo. I don't know when that's going to happen yet exactly, but we've got that shop. If a bulldozer came in tomorrow, we'd be okay with everything that's still in that building going. We got out everything that needed to get out, and that we wanted to get out, I'll say. And it was a great time over the weekend. We had a great crew. That was a lot of fun. So,
Good deal.
Yeah, so thank you again to Todd Jancy and his crew over at Bontrager Auctions, Genesee County's finest auction house, especially for the gun side of things, I would say.
Right.
And try to support them even after this. I mean, I used to buy stuff at their auctions.
Yeah.
Things just, we got a little crazy over here. We haven't gone to them in a while, but I'm sure you'll see me we don't really see me at them, but you'll see me bidding on stuff online, and
I just wish they were still live.
it is fun.
That whole
is.
watching people bid and the fast talking and
It was really funny when we put them on the spot. I'm so mad that video got erased.
so we filmed this. You didn't talk about this yet, have you? So a couple days ago, not the first video we did at the auction house.
I think it was last Thursday,
Yeah.
wasn't it, before the live stream?
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Maybe.
Maybe it was Friday. Either way, it was last week. It was to like pump up the
It was last Thursday. Regardless, doesn't matter. We were filming, and we filmed like probably the best. Like it felt good. It was
off the cuff. It was like
it was
a 10
emotional.
minute, yeah.
Like, and
Yep.
I even got I was like behind camera. I'm like, "What? Can you fast talk? Like sell something?" And he goes into it and starts doing it.
And he just like sold me an auction item for like
Yeah.
he like got the bidding up to like $500 and like whatever it was, like a tackle box.
It was
or
so
something.
fun.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was awesome.
And it was live streamed to YouTube, and I guess YouTube doesn't like us because we're firearms related content, and we've had a previous strike, so they.
And we even followed the rule. We didn't touch any guns.
Yeah, touched
we
no
knew that
guns.
because we were like, we're
Yeah.
going to do this on YouTube. We're not going to touch any guns. We're just going to talk about stuff. And yeah,
They struck us and took down the video, so I had no way to save it, no way to re-upload it, and we filmed a second one very sad and angry.
It was garbage, yeah. Like we were pissed, so it just came off. And the raw take is always the best. And you try to do a take two, and it just it was terrible.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, I was so mad about that, but
I saw it. It's in my head until it's not.
it felt cool doing it. Yeah, that was a good one, but yeah, huge major props to Bontrager, Todd Jancy. I always call him Bontrager, but it's not his name. It's Todd Jancy. They were absolutely amazing. Bookmark them and continue to support them. They will forever be, friends and dare I say family of TFP. Just
They don't want to be your family. No.
But there is still
Sad
a lot of stuff. Josiah was over there. Tatro was over there today, helping pick stuff up from the auction. I think I'm going to go out there tomorrow morning just to help again pick stuff up from the auction. There's a ton of stuff to be picked up, and a lot of it was bought by our customers. So it was good. He said it was good to see everybody. It was good to be seen too. So
yeah. So how
I
do
think I'm
the
gonna
transfers on that stuff work? Like,
you got to go out there, basically. Or, if it's something out of state, they can ship it. People
Right.
asked if they could ship them to us, and I'm sorry that you can't. If you did, I don't personally think it would make sense because I would have to charge you a $35 transfer fee.
Right.
They're going to have to charge you a transfer fee of some kind and shipping. So it's like you're already not paying more than you should. Excuse me, but you're paying for the item plus a buyer's premium, and that's what you're paying for. So just go get it from them.
Right.
We can help. And I did tell Todd. I said if there is a situation where someone just can't get out there, or if there's a couple limited exceptions where we need to help some people, obviously we can. That's what we're here for.
Sure.
But you need to go to them to pick them up. But they're a regular FFL, just like anybody else. They email everybody the coupons out or their bill of sales. You go to your clerk and you come back and stuff. So.
okay, so they can handle that, right?
Oh yeah.
Cool.
So.
Okay.
So speaking of the F YouTube train, we are actually on a service where I can say fuck YouTube. I'm very slowly working my way into it, but we are on Rumble. So if you guys are on like the Rumble bandwagon, which if you're not, you definitely should be. I'm dropping the link. If you want to give us a follow on there. I kind of want to start doing a lot more Rumble content as opposed to YouTube content because Rumble is very, you can hold guns, you can drink and hold guns.
Two-way
and-
friendly. and
Yeah, very First
whatever.
Amendment friendly, I would say.
That's true.
So, yeah,
Is it
I'm
like
excited for that.
Is it like a wrestling app, Rumble?
Yes. No, it's what YouTube should be. So, I don't have a lot of the live streams up there because I can only do one at a time. I can't like bulk upload like on YouTube. That's what's nice about YouTube. So, slowly but surely, I'm working my way on getting all of our content under Rumble.
Sweet.
And honestly, like if we were to do like, I don't know how Rumble works. If we were to do exclusive content like that Mystery Science 3000-esque style of
That'd be fun.
content, I'd probably upload to Rumble. Yeah, I'd have to play around with that. But we need to get subscribers first, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First order of business is get some subscribers.
Do we have any questions? Speaking of, subscribers?
Yeah, I had a pretty cool question that I could probably talk about. All of us could talk about for a while. Michael B, I didn't want to dox him, said he was talking to a guy the other day about his home-built AR. He converted to a 9 that was not going well, and he was curious if you guys had seen any of his favorite, or if you guys have a favorite home-built horror story. Working at an indoor public range, yes.
Favorite, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. Almost too many to count. It's hard to. Maybe not home built. Okay, maybe not my favorite home built story, but just range story. We had a guy come in with a little, like a Sterling 25 auto.
Sure.
And he was like, I've carried this gun for years. I've carried this gun for like 20 years, and I've never shot it. And it won't shoot now in the range. And I was like, what? And so I'm like, all right, well, let me have it. And he gives me like the whole holster and everything in a pocket holster. And I pull it out. And I mean, it was like cleaning a public lint trap in a public laundromat, like that had just never been cleaned. Just the amount of fluff and stuff that came off of this gun was absolutely disgusting. I'm like holding it away from myself, like breathing, so none of this like comes back towards me. And I clear it. And yeah, I mean, think about pulling your dryer lint trap and just the layer that comes off. There was like a layer of that in between the barrel and like the slide, so that just none of it could work. Just absolutely none of it could work. But we have seen, I know that's not the question, but
Yeah.
we see it all. That's just the first one that comes to mind. Home built stuff, yeah.
First thing that came to mind for me was, and I don't like, I'm not talking shit just in case you're watching, but I saw this guy bring in an AR that he built from home. He was all excited. It's one of those things where somebody's like, I have an AR, and they're so excited to show us, and I kind of have to, I'm not saying I'm fake, but I kind of have to be a little fake. Like, dude, I've seen
It's
a million
tough.
ARs.
Yeah, it's
but
tough.
Regardless,
Yeah.
this guy pulls it out, and he shows it to me, and it's one of those, like, super cringy, like, not even Cerakoted, like, ARs, and the red dot was mounted backwards and where your front sight post should be.
Yeah.
Like, it was all the way at the end of the gun, and I just, like, I had to kind of hold back laughing. I'm like, let me go fix this for you. So I took it in the back and hooked him up. It was just, yeah.
Definitely seen rear sights in the front and front sights in the rear, and I've seen all sorts of, the goodies. Sorry.
Dude.
This is total disrespect, I know. It's making my head all sweaty. It like reflects heat.
Extract.
Oh, I wonder what the problem is.
Yeah, this is weird.
It's ridiculous.
Nobody ever tells you the tinfoil like reflects and holds the heat on your head? It's crazy.
That's why I line all of my clothes with it. Pat, what you got? Favorite stories?
I mean, honestly, there are many. I've seen guys come in here with gas tubes that were like 180 degrees out, so that there was no gas going into the gas key whatsoever.
Bolt action.
I've seen guys with backwards sights, like we're talking about, like as in front sights where rears go, as well as optics mounted in the reverse way that they're supposed to be mounted. I've seen weird cantilever scope mount situations with low power variable optics, and like people setting them up so like they're bridging and or backwards and doing weird shit in that
Sometimes
way.
you just don't know.
Like, I'm not
You
going
don't know what you don't know.
I'm not going to make you
right?
feel bad at the
So-
counter because you're learning. So
Right.
Yeah.
I'll help you out.
This is definitely that safe space where if you're in that position where you don't know, like say, and I've made this comparison before, like I was never in the military. I
Right.
never had that sergeant, staff sergeant, whoever to show me, you know, as a young private, like, here's how I did it, Sarge. Like, what do you think? Like,
Right.
you are a soup sandwich. Like, sometimes people just need to know
Yeah.
that's what they are. So,
No, there's and the thing is,
and we say it with love.
there's a misconception out there, and we've all talked about it before on the stream and elsewhere, that like there's a conception that people have that like it's Legos for adults kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like they think that because
I've said it.
there's like a mil spec tolerance like range that they can fall into, that's going to be like a catch-all.
Sure.
Or like, you know, that's going to save them from whatever could possibly go wrong sort of mindset. So I get it. And like we do tend to maybe not we specifically,
The
but like I would
industry.
say in general,
Yeah,
like
the industry.
there's so much information out there on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like a double-edged sword, right?
Well, if you
Like,
tell somebody looking to get into it that it's hard, you're turning them off to it. We want to turn people into the industry. So,
we're always trying to get people more interested.
not
as
saying that it's
opposed to
right,
less,
but
right? Yeah.
I mean, relatively speaking, it's not that hard to build an AR out. You got to kind of know, like, not to put springs backwards and stuff, but
if you're somewhat mechanically inclined, you don't have to be real mechanically inclined, but just a tiny bit. And if you have a few of the right tools, you don't need a lot of tools, but you do need, you know, I would say,
Yeah.
a
Well, and
minimum.
like to your point of having the red dot mounted all the way out, where like your front sight post should be, it's like, well, that optic goes on Picatinny rail, and they put Picatinny rail all the way out there. So like, yes, technically it works.
could do it,
right?
but I
from
mean-
a practical standpoint, it's dumb, and here's why maybe. And they've never gone through that evolution of maybe even trying to use it, or
Here's another common mistake I want to point out. If I'm not talking shit or anything, but look at your builds. Anybody out there watching that has builds or even store-bought guns.
If you have red anodized parts, take them off.
Yeah, take them off. Throw them out.
Immediately.
It's completely objective.
No,
Subjective.
look at your red dot placement or your scope placement. If you were breaking the gap between the upper and the rail,
referred to as bridging.
Yeah, if you are bridging that gap,
Stop.
yeah, rethink your mounting.
Okay, so there's specific exceptions, like if you have a Viltor MUR, like a modular upper receiver, or a monolithic upper receiver, where it's all like
Like
one.
LMT
Yeah.
has that
Right.
too, right?
There are
Like,
a very
sure.
few specific. Right.
And I guess like if it's not monolithic, the only other company I would kind of trust that with is almost like Daniel, because Daniel's like
With the
locking.
RIS?
Their
Yeah.
locking system is
Sure.
amazing,
That's not
but
going
still, you definitely shouldn't do that.
I'm not a fan of bridging. I've seen it a bunch, and I always.
That's always
try
one of the
to,
first
like,
things I correct somebody on. Like, hey, like I'm not telling you what to do. I don't believe in telling you what to do, but
There's going to be a
Please
certain
no.
amount of flex that's
Yeah.
there, and you just want to avoid
The
that.
scope is like 5 miles away.
yeah, it should like scout mounted.
Well, there is like a point of diminishing returns in either direction, right? Like you can get too close to your
Yeah.
eye where it's a real obstruction
Sure,
to your
gotta
field of
find that
vision,
sweet spot.
and you can also get too far out there where now my window is a little bit too small, and I'm not necessarily in a proper alignment with my scope, my sight.
I remember one time I had an LPVO type optic, or maybe it was just like a 3-9 or whatever scope on an AR-15, like a designated marksman rifle, right? And I put the flip ups on it, and obviously the front flip up is way out in front, no big deal. But the rear flip up, because of the eye relief of the scope, the rear flip up was under the scope, thus necessitating taking the scope off
Right,
to
right.
use it. But they weren't QD scope rings, like they were like 35 foot-pound, whatever, torqued on there.
Right, like
It was like,
half-inch, yeah.
am I going to carry a wrench in my kit? Like, so I was like,
Fix six.
yes, I put the backup sights on there. Like, I have, like, all the boxes are checked. But then it was like, if I actually had to use this, like, I wouldn't be able to. Like, it wouldn't work. Yeah.
No, you got to try that stuff
Yep.
all like together, right? Because when we're picking out some of those pieces of equipment, like individually, it might seem like a really good idea to get some of that different stuff, and then collectively, it doesn't all work.
What do we got? Something was silly.
This one refers to Pat, kind of. So
Yeah, I seen it.
So don't dox him, but read it out, Pat.
Okay, so John, what's up, John? How's it going? He says, "Can you guys give me a rundown on the G47? I'm picking mine up from Bontrager tomorrow. I bought a Glock because I watched Pat eat shit in the mud at a training day. True story. While his 320 was malfunctioning, he started screaming, 'This is why we shoot Glocks.'" I did start screaming that, and yes, John.
That's awesome.
Because I told you guys the story I told you the story last
a couple
week.
streams ago.
All right, yeah, maybe a couple. And I fell down, and my gun was actually inside the holster still, and I got mud onto the optic and onto the top of the slide, and there ended up just being just enough that got down to my ejection port to really mess that gun up, and it stopped working. Like, it choked on an amount of mud that I don't think my Glock necessarily would have choked on.
Sure.
So can you give him the rundown on the G47?
So
Glock
as far as the
47.
Glock 47 goes, and you guys feel free to jump in here and correct me at any time, G47 is a full-size frame with like a G17 frame
Yeah.
with a 19.
No,
that
it's
backwards.
literally just replace the 17.
The Glock 45 frame with the short. It has a 17 light slide.
And they
17
elongated the
slide.
dust cover too, right? So
Yeah.
It uses a 90.
So you can use the. Okay, got it.
So think about Glock 19.
So
right?
it's. mhm.
So I would write like 19 down on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And then I would put 47 above it, right? So if you take 40, what's 47 take away 19
28.
is right.
Damn,
Right? So
that
it's at
was
least
fast.
28 perfections. That's how I see it. That's how I see
I really
it.
thought you were going somewhere with that, and you just wasted
just-
my
I mean,
time.
they-
What are you doing?
You can take a 47 slide and put it on a 19 frame for a 19L.
Okay.
Pat, what's 82
what does
plus
Gaston
77?
say?
It's 157.
That was pretty impressive.
Damn, dude.
159. 159.
Still, even like I know the one part. Like I have to
I can do fast. It's fast, but it's not good.
Can you do division and multiplication fast?
A little bit.
I thought Alex was good at that.
Is that like the joke from The Office when like Kevin can never do math, but then they're like, how many pies? If we took 28 pies times 48 pies, he like knows. Is that you with like, if I've got 28 terrorists over here and I got to kill 47 of them over here, like how many squares of TNT? Like, is that just
no comment
with your?
somebody give Pat more math problems.
No, please don't. I don't.
Please
don't. I don't like to do stupid human tricks.
How do you cut that tree, Pat, with explosives?
Well, that's right on.
Pi r
We have
squared.
that.
There's a shirt. Buy
There's
the shirt.
a whole shirt.
Buy my shirt.
Look it up in the engineer handbook, FM5-34.
I'm actually gonna drop a link to that shirt. Keep going. Keep talking.
Yeah, no, that shirt is rad. You should. Everybody should buy that shirt. I think it's one of my. It's one of my favorites. I actually got to order another one. Hey, speaking of dropping links, McCardle, can you please do me a courtesy? New York Training Day on the Facebook. I posted a post on there earlier about how we're going to go ahead and cancel our scheduled skirmish for the 30th. So I just want to talk about that real briefly while we got a moment here. The New York Tactical Games Training Day was scheduled to have an event on 30 April at Escarpment Arms. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, we went ahead and canceled that. However, we do have the May Training Day scheduled for the 28th of May.
Nice.
That's still going down as planned. And hopefully we can get a bunch of people signed up. Shooting season is upon us, and we intend to continue doing training days.
I know you've talked about it before. I don't want to hit it too hard, but
Right.
I love the direction that the Tactical Games like leadership has taken these training days.
I agree.
I think it takes a lot of the pressure off of people, say like me. I know I'm always very supportive of Dwayne. I was amazed,
Hi, Dwayne.
at his tactical collegiate athleticism, right? It was very impressive.
As far as like former athletes go, I thought he did a fantastic job.
Absolutely, and I think that's where a lot of us fall, where it was like, man, could have done that when I was 18, but I'm not going to do that now. Whereas, maybe, and that might have been true with the skirmishes, because it was a competition, and it was, there were, not that there were stakes on the line, but it was like, your pride, anyways.
Well, it was also much less of a teaching type of an environment.
Right. It was just show up and do it.
It was more of, like, we're just going
to
bring you here, and you're going to try to just perform to the best of your ability, but you're kind of getting thrown into the deep end of the pool, right?
With the training days now, it's with the training days, though, now.
It's a whole different ball of wax, right? So, to your point, the Tactical Games leadership has really kind of standardized things in a lot of ways and given us some really clear guidance on hey, these are the specific tasks for this month, and this is kind of the layout. And they have a monthly shooting challenge that they do.
Super cool.
Monthly live fire challenge. So that's part of your training day as well, is to shoot the monthly live fire challenge.
I think that's just an awesome way, too, because I think a lot of people stagnate. You get into firearms, no matter if you've been into them, like me, I've been into guns since I was a little boy. Sure. Ty, you got into them a little older when you were more of like a teenager, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of customers that get into guns in their 20s or 30s or 40s even, So, no matter when you've gotten into them, at some point you kind of plateau and you kind of just get, I don't want to say bored with it, but it is kind of like, okay, there's this like, especially in New York, there's like this mountain up in the distance of like getting your pistol permit.
Right.
And you get your pistol permit, right? And then there's this mountain of like picking out the gun. And then you get it. And then eventually once you've done all those things, you come to the range, you shoot the target, but then it's kind of like, now what? A couple of years into the journey, if you're a hunter, great, but if you're not, you kind of get to that point, or I feel a lot of us get to that point of like, well, now what? Or maybe you're into the gear. We love the gear. We're all gear whores.
Sure.
I want all of the gear all the time, but when do I get to use it? Or when do I get that experience, me who never served, when do I get that time around the crusty, salty sergeants to tell me like, hey, like I need to know I'm a soup sandwich, fix me, help me.
Right.
And it's just the perfect confluence of all of those things, the perfect opportunity, especially here in New York. You don't get these opportunities.
There's really not a whole lot of place.
I hate to say LARP around, but that's kind of what you're doing.
I'd just like to add,
and you're learning, and you're having a lot of fun.
You shouldn't be able to have the opportunity to LARP because you never served. So why should you
that's a good take.
even be able to own any of that stuff?
Yeah, no one should.
Based.
No one should own this stuff. I mean, none of us are current active duty police officers,
Yeah.
so none of us should own any of this
If
stuff.
that's your mindset,
Technically, the
fuck yourself.
government should have a
Right.
monopoly on
Right.
all of the.
I mean,
Agree.
I have a cell phone. Hi, what more do you need? You taught me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we've
Which is obviously stupid.
Now that
Ty,
we've done
do you
that.
want to talk about, obviously we don't want to dox anybody, but do you want to talk what we can about the phone call, the interview you had yesterday? Because that blew me away.
Snap. Yeah, that was
blew me
really
away.
cool.
That blew me away. Pat, do you know about this? The interview we had?
I'm interested.
I really want to
talk about it.
you know how you were talking about that scholarship idea?
Yeah, I would give him one.
He would
100%.
have a scholarship from us.
100%. He should be the first one we give it to.
So this kid, we got reached out. This kid, very shy, like he seemed like a really sweet, good kid, but Zoom. So his teacher reached out to see if he could interview us because he's doing a senior exit project or something to that extent. And the topic was, and this kid's 17. His topic was the handgun possession age or the handgun purchasing age in New York State should be lowered to 18.
Okay.
And that blew me away.
And he came up with that totally on his
Yeah.
own. He presented that to his teachers.
And they accepted that.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't just shoot him down immediately.
Yeah, it seems like what school district does he go to?
He was in a BOCES school.
Was it Rochester?
That
Was it
area
Genesee
code was
Valley?
716.
Oh, okay. So it may have been like a Buffalo or Erie County.
Yeah, but
Who knows? Yeah,
for a kid to come up with that, especially today, I'm saying today's kids, I'm old, but I graduated in 2014, and times have changed.
It's a decade, man.
In the environment that they're growing up in.
Today's kids are just grown up so afraid of firearms. Justifiably, the news only reports mass shootings and school shootings. So I don't know, just to hear a kid bring that up, and I could really see that he was paying attention and learning.
Yeah.
I missed the part. Why? I know the question was asked, but I missed that part. Why did he choose that? Did he have a reason, or he's just like one of us? He's just always been into guns and thinks it should be 18?
It did not seem like it.
Yeah.
I don't really know why he chose it. I think he said because he thinks that people should have the ability to protect themselves, and young people should have the ability to protect themselves.
Yeah.
But it was great, going into the Safe Street Act of '68 and all of that good stuff. So
Going into the history of why is it 21?
yeah,
Why do we even have that rule to begin with? Right? Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see the correspondence back and forth. It was cool to see that his teacher or whoever it was super supportive of that. And she owned a gun, didn't she?
She doesn't own a gun, but she's
a permit maybe, or
she has a pistol permit.
She was very pro. She wasn't anti. And I'm sure they paired her with him because of that, maybe. But
Sure.
that was just cool to see from a social studies. I guess that would have been where it would fall from my when I went to school. From that angle. A civic government, whatever, they were interested in that topic and he wanted to learn about that. And
and they were able to, they allowed that and they were open-minded enough not to immediately
and I'm hopeful. I mean, that
it gave me a lot of hope.
Yeah, that young man seemed very, I would like to get a copy of his essay. Or
I sent them, they wrote out all of the questions and my answers, and I help them phrasing wrong.
Clean them up a little bit.
Yeah, because they would say firearm
I
often, and there's a difference between a firearm and a pistol, and blah blah blah. So I said it in the end. I gave him Article 265, all of New York's BS definitions and stuff, and I said bro, you're gonna do amazing on this, and if you can, I want to see what you come up with at the end. So I hope they follow through. I gave him an email.
That would be cool. That would be cool, and we need to see more of it because. The only exposure, like you said, that I feel like young people are getting is TikTok.
Guns, bad.
There was that video of the guy shooting the tannerite from 20 feet away that we all saw.
The fridge.
Right. Or whatever he was shooting, it hits him in the eye.
Oh, yeah. That just came out. Yeah.
That's if any youth in America get exposed to a firearm this week, that's what they see from it, right? So, guns are bad, guns are dangerous, you're going to get hurt. They don't see that civic duty side of it that we see. And there was a great conversation. I had a great conversation with someone today at the store this morning when I was here. I believe, and there is a saying that the pen is mightier than the sword. And I believe that. I think ideas are stronger than violence, right? And they will outlast any there could be total totalitarian regimes, whatever. There can be despair, but ideas will always prevail, right? The pen is mightier than the sword, and if you believe in that, or if you find that to be true, then I think if you go down that path, a vote is just as powerful, if not more powerful,
100%.
than a weapon.
100%.
Because someone's voting, that butterfly effect of a single vote, right, can be magnified. And I just firmly believe that. And if you're going to have the voting age is 18, then if we're considering that to be an adult, then it should be across the board for everything.
You can't be
But
drafted.
if you're not, right, you should be able to, if you're drafted at 18, right, if you should be able to drink at 18, which you used to be able to, right, till the government bullied us basically. You should be able to you have the natural right to self-defense that you should be able to exercise on your own at that age, which you can for a long gun.
Yeah.
You can buy any shotgun you want, and anywhere at 18.
Right.
Now you have to have a little 3-day waiting background or 10-day waiting background check or whatever.
3.
But I don't want to get into this whole thing, but you can be pregnant legally at 18, create a human life at 18, right? You can do all these things. There's just this weird that age between 18 and 21. You're an adult, but not really, and you can do some things, but not really. And for me, it should be all or nothing. They either raise the age for everything to 21, being drafted and voting and drinking, all of it should be 21, or if we're an adult at 18, why should a single mom with a job not be able to have a handgun to defend herself?
I always think about my mom.
Yes.
Single mom had me a month. I was delivered a month after she graduated, and she was defenseless.
Yeah.
As an adult, that horrifies me. I know
Right.
it was different in the
Right.
the 90s, but
You cannot wield.
Was it though? Really?
You cannot hold a baby in one arm and rack a shotgun in another.
Correct.
You can't
Yeah.
do it. You know what I mean?
to further on this topic, New York State and this is kind of something I hit it hard with them too. New York State just creates a culture of ignorance and fear, especially in young children. The news is always doing it. You can't even legally you can't even discharge a firearm until you're 12 years old. And that is so late. I think kids should definitely be learning how to respect and use firearms definitely before sex ed. Because one of the things I always tell people is just because you don't like firearms or you're against them doesn't mean your kid's going to become friends with somebody that their dad might be a gun enthusiast and maybe dad's not very responsible with firearms and he leaves it on the table and your kid's over there. Your kid lives in America. They know what a gun is. They know how to work a gun. They're not hard.
Right.
And if they haven't been trained or taught, that's how you get those videos on Live Leak of kids killing themselves or somebody. It's awful.
We're at that age now with Ari, my oldest. She's at that age
Yeah.
where kids are coming over without their parents. You know what I mean? It's we're having play dates where she's going over without us, and staying maybe not overnight, but for a while,
But could be at some point.
right. She's right in that age,
Sure.
and it's I mean, I'd like to think we've done a good job of training her, and I've quizzed her, maybe not every week, but I try to quiz her whenever guns are out and about in the house, which probably not as often as your house, Pat, but. They do come out, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Just the other day, Anna was shooting at a fox that was predatoring our chickens, right? And we had a Henry out, and we were talking about it and stuff, and we normalize it and we talk about it, and
Sure.
I like to think I do a good job with my daughter on that side of it. But then I've had her friends come over, and I have no idea. We keep
What
all our
their
stuff
level
locked
of
up, and we keep our
exposure
stuff
is,
safe,
right?
but it's still I don't know what is over at their house, right?
Yeah.
What their practices are, and I agree.
And guns aren't hard. They're
do
pretty
think-
easy. They're pretty easy to work.
They are. I do think that would be something, and I'm sure we're speaking to the choir here, but I would 100%, if that got brought up at the PTA meetings or at the school board meetings, should we be teaching firearm safety in the school? 100%. That's no
Absolutely.
question.
Before
question
sex
at all.
ed.
Eddie Eagle, why are we not having that program done more?
Because they can, Eddie the Eagle, the whole program about that is they're playing at a basketball, they're playing basketball at a park, and they find a book bag with a gun in it.
Sure.
And, the one kid's oh, what's that? I've seen this. And they pick it up, and Eddie the Eagle's no, don't do that.
You teach our kids to just don't say anything, and you bring it to dad.
Yes.
Well, we
Dad buries it in the backyard, and we never talk about it again. Right? That's the Eddie Eagle program, right? Find your nearest API bag that will fit the item and bury it. No. Tell no one except Dad.
I think having some kind of firearm education in schools could potentially be beneficial, but definitely at home, like.
How do we get that to happen?
So,
like when I was a kid, there was like just a random assembly, and I know there was like a meme I saw the other day about it, but there was like, we had a random assembly, and the dude just had like snakes.
yeah.
Right.
And it was like, who the hell brought the snake guy in? Like, how's that work? And he
Yeah.
probably got paid $10,000 to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like, why aren't we going to the schools, or like, can you help us, listeners, viewers? How do we do that? Like, do we just start going? Like, my kids go to Brockport. Do I just start going to the school board meetings? I guess. Like, how you have it in too. Like, how does that
Yeah.
work?
So,
I don't think
to
that
further
they're
on that, sorry, Pat,
do
go
it.
ahead.
No, I don't think that necessarily anybody's going to take action on that, but I just think,
Yeah.
like, we have, like, fire safety education.
Yeah.
There's any number of different
Like, we should be
types
doing
of
that.
safety things. Well, I mean, they don't have to necessarily have it as a topic in school, but they could bring somebody in.
Sure,
like
do
you
one of
say,
those presentations.
for an
Yeah.
assembly where
Yeah.
it's like, hey, kids, here
Dare
are the
didn't work,
things that
maybe.
you should do. Well, just as simple as the Eddie Eagle thing.
We're
Stop,
Dare
don't
2.0.
touch.
Like, we just raise a whole generation of goons. Like,
It's the American flag with the
Just
igloo
fucking-
and Hawaiian strip. To further that conversation, because this is a very awesome and important conversation. Brandon, you and I were kind of talking about that a month before the fire, like shotgun trap season, which is awesome that schools are starting to do that. We wanted to sponsor Byron Burgeon, but that kind of just fell through. We were
still
talking
will be,
about,
though.
yeah, I would really want to, because it's our hometown and it's where I grad, it's my alma mater. We were talking about like a scholarship,
Yeah.
like how cool it would be to like have like kids do a writing competition on what the Second Amendment is,
Yeah.
and what it means, and blah blah blah, and then maybe like shoot for it. Like,
Yeah.
you're, all right, now you're in a 22 rifle champ.
right.
league,
Like,
and
we'll write us an essay, and then we'll pick a certain number of essay winners, and they
Shoot
get to
for
come to
it.
a shooting competition or
Scholarship.
something. Yeah. I would love that.
And then we wanted to. I talked with Victoria, she's a social worker at school, and I was kind of just asking her because they always do like the Bavona training on like good touch, bad touch, blah blah blah, and they're doing it for like, I guess it's an important topic, but they're doing it like 3rd, 4th graders, and I was just talking with her over dinner, like how would like we as outside consultants get into a school and like you'd have to approach the school board and you have to get all of that good stuff. So I would love to
Not
do
necessarily
that.
Bavona. I know that's an amazing organization. A lot of those groups, I think, want money from the school. We would not, like, you know what I mean? Like, we'd be doing that absolutely for free.
I mean, it'd be
like,
cool
we
to
don't,
get
we
paid
don't
to
want
do it,
money
but
for this.
yeah,
Like, if,
I'd rather
you know,
teach your kid.
I think
Absolutely.
it's important enough that we would volunteer our time to do it.
or have people support, if there were some expenses to it. If we're going to every school in the area, yeah, there's going to be some expenses. But
Yeah, but I mean, within reason, I think.
of course. What do we got?
My
You got
grandma
any-
said, I remember when we used to do Pioneer Days at Byron Burgeon, but she says back years ago, Bruce, my grandfather, used to do Pioneer Days at Byron Burgeon, and he brought in guns, and all the kids were curious, and he'd explain any question they had.
shooting muskets off in
Yeah.
the cafeteria, probably. Like, Billy, go keep watch. Yeah, must have been some kids smoking in here or something.
It's pretty cool.
I wish I could do your grandpa's voice. I can't do your grandpa's voice.
That wasn't it.
No, it was not. No, that was terrible. Do we have any other questions? Should I talk about these crappy, what are these, Barskas? No, these are not
They
Barskas.
don't look like
I think we had a question, but
Barska
bring that
or
up first, and then we...
Star optics.
Sure. Do we have the overhead cam up?
Yeah.
Does that work?
For anybody drinking out there with us, social.
No.
So, these, just to give them a, go to an overhead shot there, mister. These are the, oh, look at that. So these are the loopholed Mark V, right? I'm going to get this wrong. These are the BX4 Range HD 10 to 42. These are, yeah, 10 by 42. What did I say, 10 to 42?
So they're
Yeah,
10 power fixed
Cringe.
rangefinder as
42
well.
millimeter objective. Yeah, so this is a binocular.
Can I get a cringe in the
and
chat?
A rangefinder, which I think is very impressive. I can't see anything because it's.
They're really nice. They're super clear. I was a big fan. They're pricey, but you got to pay for good glass. Yeah, no shit, you can't see anything.
I was like, I can't see anything.
can't do nothing.
I
Neither
can't
do
see.
bad.
So how far away do you think that the monitor that's on over there is?
It's
far
going to
away is
be
that?
9
10.
yards.
5.9 meters. I should have asked you in meters, I guess. 5.9 meters from here. So obviously that's stupid to range something that far away or that close away.
It's only
but
6. Man, my depth perception is not good.
these the point of these is, yes, they are rangefinders, and they are actually a ballistic calculator built in. You can put
Sweet.
like
No,
load
they're
data in here. You say
No, they're not.
You could put load data in here. This will calculate not only the distance but the angle of the dangle, like not just the distance
Will
away.
it calculate the mass of the ass? Is the question.
If you've ever used a rangefinder, you know that on different types of materials, it'll work better or worse. You know, say like a deer covered in fur, they absorb some of this infrared, laser beam that goes out. So a deer, you'd have less range on, say, than like a building or a car, right? Very reflective surface.
Sure.
So a deer advertised range 1,600 meters.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous,
Yes.
right? I mean, 1,600 meters that's touching a mile. I mean, almost, right? That's like
Pretty close.
4,500 or what's
4,800.
You lost me.
Yeah,
But if it's
so
in meters, then you
it's a
got
little
to
different, right?
you
I
got
don't
3
know.
inches to
I don't
every
know
one of those bad boys.
I don't know the conversion chart.
So long story short, we're giving one of these away.
No, we're not.
For
No,
the
cut
price,
that.
all you
Cut
got to do
that,
is
cut
just
that,
give
cut
us
that, cut that, cut that.
$1,400, and you
Yes.
can get one for free.
So you know when it's got the
That
L,
is almost the same as free.
you know when it's got the nice L on it. It's not going to be cheap.
Do about it.
Loopholed. They're amazing. They are made and designed in the United States of America.
Correct.
So you're paying for that, which is, I think, worth it.
Can I get that sheet that says that?
I would guarantee these are made.
Yeah?
Loophole stuff. All is. They're nice stuff. We'll find out though. We have 2 of these in stock. We have one that you can test out and see like normal, and then we have one for sale. They are $14.99, and that's not $14.99. It's $14.99.99. Right? They're $1,500. So I didn't bring the entire range into perspective. So on a soft target, we'll say a deer, 1,600 meters. If you have a reflective surface, it can go up to 2,700 meters, which is ridiculous. You're going to have a hard time finding something that's actually that
How are you
far
gonna even
away,
see it?
right? Liberty Pumps, if you go out to the driveway, Liberty Pumps is only 680 meters away. That blew my mind. I thought I thought that would have been over 1,000 for sure.
I was going to say, I would think it was
But
at
like
least 900.
their main building, maybe the materials center would be that far away because that building's mad. The Liberty Pumps itself is like a kilometer.
It's a very big
But,
place.
Yeah, so
We're using all these commie
meters,
meters,
yards,
measurement
yards?
systems.
You wanna-
Supposed to be using alligators.
48,000
Arizona cans.
cheeseburgers, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, obviously they're not cheap. You could accomplish this with a pair of binoculars and a SIG, $300 to $400 rangefinder maybe. But then you got
Sure.
two, you got 2 things. And
This is one thing.
This is one thing. That's better.
It's less
And
two
it's
things.
super crystal clear. Like,
It is amazing.
I looked through that, and
I mean, they're obviously overpriced for just binos, but just as binoculars, they are amazing.
it just blows my mind how great virtual reality has gotten.
Now, somebody in the chat is asking the most important question, which does it display actual standard American imperial
Freedom units.
You can
measurements?
do it in meters or yards.
You can do it in yards, yes. So we can
So-
do it in actual, honest to God yards.
I'll drink to America.
And I haven't messed around with every setting, but I'm pretty sure I still have to learn a little bit in the book. I do know how to read. I'm gonna go through the book and see, but I'm
believe
pretty
you,
confident.
by the
Thank you. I am pretty confident that this has, like I said, it's a full ballistic calculator. So I believe you're able to type in like load data essentially into here, like program it in, like this is what I'm shooting, and it will do all of that too. Like like I said, the angle. I'm not a sniper or like a long distance shooter, but I know I know that a lot more than just the range goes into it,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
I
that's
guess for
pretty
that
dope.
world, the only thing that this wouldn't do, which I'm not aware of anything that would be like the wind. Obviously, you need like a Kestrel or something to judge the wind, but that's obviously
My only con with these, visual is great, amazing. The rangefinder aspect built in seemed to be pretty accurate and really cool.
Okay.
It's just heavy.
It is a little bit heavy. It comes with an interesting. We didn't get it set up yet. It comes with an interesting strap setup, where it's like a chest rig in front of you, but then it's also, that's like the loops where if you drop the binos, they're like all in one type of thing. It's kind of interesting. I wish
the Eberl stock version.
I wish they'd sent the
Those are
traditional,
nice.
just the single loop, like so you can hang them off your neck. I don't know if they're just too heavy for that though. If people would be uncomfortable hanging them off your
Yeah.
neck like that, or you need the chest back.
You're probably going to want to harness.
Oh no! Change the battery. We couldn't find the charger for that one camera, so we just said screw it. We'll go till it dies.
Have you seen
51 minutes? That's
the
pretty
Eberl
impressive.
stock?
I do like those.
That like
Yeah.
they're modular. You can put like hand warmers or a pistol.
That's
or-
super cool.
They're so nice.
That's super cool.
Hill people gear.
Hill people gear.
Hill people gear, Colorado.
Hill people kind of sound like my people for some reason. I'm a corn people, but hill people are.
People. So yeah, if you want to come on down, like I said, we have one of these loopholes for rent. You can come down and just try it out.
Check it out.
Step outside and
Check it out.
Nice.
range some of the villagers. What else we got? We got other questions? Is it really? So that's damn close.
Pretty
Yeah.
close.
That is awesome.
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
We had put a post out the other day. I should have grabbed the box of stuff. We'll put another post out. There's a Freedom Weekend flyer.
Oh, yeah,
that's
let's
been
talk
posted out there.
about. Somebody asked me about that today.
So Freedom Weekend is coming up. I just ordered today a bunch of physical flyers.
Sweet.
So they should be here sometime very soon.
Good deal.
And we'll have a stack of them sitting out front. So if you come down and if you have like a social club you go to or just like a favorite coffee spot or somewhere, please ask. I never liked it when people just hung flyers up at my place without asking.
Right.
I always said yes if they ask, but I just like to be asked. So please, be respectful. Ask if you could hang them up, but like your favorite restaurant, if they have that spot where they hang flyers up, I'm going to have like 1,000 flyers here. So please grab a stack of them, hang them up. Really would help. This Freedom Weekend, I know we've said it 100 times. We always say it an hour into the stream. I wish we would say it in the beginning of the stream, but that's okay.
We should.
This Freedom Weekend is shaping up to be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't even like to call it Freedom Weekend anymore. It's a Second Amendment rally. Like, we're hosting a Second Amendment rally out here. Little known celebrity, Spike Cohen. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's going to be here.
I met him in person.
He's going to be here. We're going to be able to meet him again.
Dwayne's in the tub, and you should not be talking about Spike. You might get too excited.
That might be too much for Dwayne. Because of Dwayne Whitmer
And his,
and his generosity, Spike Cohen's coming up here, who is a libertarian icon. He just absolutely gives it to any type of law enforcement, be it ATF, be it a sheriff, be it state police. If there's law enforcement out there that's abusing their powers, he lets them know about it, and he gives it to them on social media. I mean,
he
lets
shares a
them have
lot
it.
of, he puts out a lot of great
Yeah.
information on his social media about people who have been, unfortunately abused by the government in various ways and police agencies.
Yeah, people that you've heard those stories of the SWAT team went to go raid a house and they raided the wrong house and they, completely ruined someone's life basically over it. Like
Or ended it.
That's who Spike is trying to, and then those police departments will have the audacity to say, they're still about protecting and serving and all that kind of stuff. And
Well, they had a gun.
yeah,
Yeah, like, came to my house at 2 in the morning. I'd have one
he
too.
just holds them accountable and helps make people right. And he is just a great guy. He'll be out here just answering questions and just,
Giving a speech,
being
hopefully.
guest speaker. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, I also enjoy his wholesome Sabbath memes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I routinely
funny.
share those.
They're funny.
Yep. And then we also have two guys coming out from FPC. Jeff, I forget his last name, I'm sorry, but do you remember the two guys? I feel so bad right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Jeff and who's the other guy? Jeff and the other guy. They're coming out from
Sorry.
FPC, but they are amazing advocates. If you're not aware of Firearms Policy Coalition, you're wrong. Go out there right now, look them up.
It's like the one group you should support.
Again, I'm gonna say in the next 5 years they're gonna not be the new NRA, but that's who. If you are a gun owner and you feel betrayed by the NRA and you feel like they haven't done anything for us, which is true lately, that's who to support. FPC is the actual.
Yeah,
They are the group. They have 5 lawsuits right now running in New York.
New York State, yeah.
Just in New York State, 5 different lawsuits running to try to restore your rights. What is the NRA doing?
Right.
How many lawsuits do they have? What have they done other than? I mean, I don't want to just go into an anti-NRA rant, but they've done a lot of things. I will never agree with anti-gun legislation that's brought in New York State, But damn, is it hard not to agree with some of their talking points? Did you see the bill that was introduced? That they want to remove NRA instructors from being duly authorized instructors to teach the permitting class in New York State?
Yes.
I don't agree with that. But I clicked on that bill because I wanted to see, like, what's their reasoning? Like, where are they getting this? Like, why? Why are they doing this? And if you look at their reasoning, it is very hard not to agree with them. Like, the NRA has turned, they used to be the gold standard of training and education at the Eagle program. Like, their thing was, obviously it had to be political, but it was weighted, I would say, much more towards the training and, like, the grassroots side of it. In the last 10, 15 years, what is the NRA? Just a mouthpiece to yell at liberals.
And, like,
right? Like, for all 8 years that Obama was president, every cover of the NRA Rifleman magazine was like an evil picture of Obama. Like, he's coming for your guns. Like, oh, no.
All they
Who
did
took
was
guns more?
scare
Who took more
tactics.
guns?
Trump.
Obama or Trump?
Trump.
It was Trump. Look it up. Stop watching Newsmax and look it up. Like, it was Trump, right? Like, he has not been your friend as a gun owner.
The bump stock.
The bump stock ban.
Yeah.
Oh, remember we were supposed to get national reciprocity? He literally ran on that. I feel like 90% of our customers that voted for him voted. I voted for him the first time because of that, because
Specifically
we were
when it
supposed
comes
to
to
get,
concealed carry.
you can have a driver's license anywhere in this country, you were supposed to get a pistol permit for anywhere in this country, and that was a big lie of his that
Did
he
not
told
happen.
as a politician. They all do it, right? And I just, we need people that are going to get things done, and it's not the NRA anymore. It's FPC.
Yes,
And-
I was going to say I think they're going to accomplish more in terms of defending our rights
Yeah.
and doing the things that we all believe. But in terms of your point, as far as like NRA instructors being removed from the New York State duly authorized instructor roster or roles or whatever, I am really bummed out that the number of duly authorized instructors might go down.
Sure.
Just
Absolutely.
simply from that perspective.
Sure.
But as far as like if you were gonna take away the ability of any organization as far as like what's currently happening in training or what's currently like I can't make an argument for like the NRA in terms
Yeah.
of like their training program being the new hotness or
Sure.
current
Sure.
or good or relevant.
Right. They updated their book. I'll give them that.
Okay.
They went about 40 years, probably, like 1980 till a couple years ago, between a revamp of their training curriculum. I understand the rationale of like, okay, well, like a trigger is still a trigger, and a safe direction is still a safe direction. Like you can't change some of those basics, and I do. I will say that if you make it to, whatever, if you get into firearms later in life, not that if you grow up with them you're in a better position, because sometimes you have bad habits that are unsafe, but in general, for most people, if you didn't grow up with guns, I do think an NRA class can be beneficial.
It's great for starting.
But only from that, like, so just so that we're all on the same page, that when I say a muzzle, you know what I'm talking about. And when I say, keep it pointed in a safe direction, we know what we're talking about in that regard. But I'm with you. If you're talking from a self-defense standpoint, or if you're talking about actually using the firearm, I think the NRA falls very short. Very, very short. I think it works well. A static range, like bullseye competition, if you're going out to Camp Perry, you're getting range commands from a range officer of, like load, safety off, like whatever, like, okay,
Right.
That's fine. But that's
so
that's
much
not the real
nuance in
world.
real
But that's
gun
not,
world.
when you talk about what does a gun owner, you talk about the mom who wants to defend her family and her kids and her house or whatever. There's modern training that has to be done to accomplish those things. Or you're doing a disservice by not going to other trainings too. I'll say that. Not that you're getting wrong information or bad information necessarily from the NRA, but they're only taking you so far. And it's really not anywhere. I mean, I haven't really done their like concealed carry inside or outside of the home, but knowing what I know about those classes from having heard about them, they're just such a glossy overview.
Right.
Like it's just, I don't want to get into an anti-NRA training
It's just really
rant right now, but it is
to me.
frustrating.
It's just the way they put out their information is so it's
New York State
too
should,
step by
which
step.
they're not going to. New York State should be adding more instructor certificate, like the SIG master level instructor courses, right? Like if you were
USCCA,
right, any of that kind of stuff.
Somebody
right.
like you know, I don't know. There's just to me.
The other thing that was frustrating about the legislation brought, you know, to the House or whatever it was in the Senate.
It's in Assembly right now.
The frustrating thing about it was the NRA is basically two different entities.
Right.
There's the political side of the NRA, and then there's the training side of the NRA. And the training side of the NRA, I mean, I don't know the inner workings of the NRA. I don't know how much those two things communicate or groups communicate.
Right.
But whatever the NRA, like the political side, is doing, as I said, the training side, okay, they came out with a new book, but none of that's like, it's not like they put MAGA on every page. You know what I mean? Like the training side has not been influenced by the political side, and I feel in any way. So all of the arguments that like, oh, the NRA is this crazy, you know, extremist political group, which
I wish
that might be true. Like, yes, if you're
the NRA
like
is far too anti-gun.
If you're extremely left
Make the NRA like the NRA.
You know, yeah, like if you're extremely left wing and you know you're up there, if you're AOC, you know, sure, if anything that the NRA says is extremist to you or whatever, right? So, but it's just there's a complete disconnect from that side of it to the training side of it, and I just don't, you know. But the legislators' argument was basically like, we shouldn't have a political extremist group in charge of training, and it was like, they are, but they aren't, right? Like that doesn't. There's no crossover there.
If they were, what political extremism have they been involved in? Because they seem
taking away machine guns and pistols.
Weak to me. They seem extremely weak.
And they're, you know, again, like going back to say like someone like AOC, you know, like a terrible crime happens, someone happens to use a firearm to commit that crime, and the NRA would come out and be like, well, you know, just like when riots were happening or certain things were happening, like we can't blame the many on the actions of a few, right, or whatever, or the ATF, or the NRA will come out and just, you know, kind of defend the gun owner side of it, where it was like, you know, the gun didn't do that. Right. Someone that had a twisted mind, was a broken individual, like that's who did it. You know, we shouldn't blame objects for doing things because they didn't do it. You know, so I think if the NRA doesn't come out and immediately just denounce everything and try to fold up and close shop, well, then they're the bad guys and they're extremists and they're whatever. You know, because they haven't done anything. I don't think so. But
two things I'd like to add to this conveation.
Let's do it.
First and foremost, nobody vacations like Wayne LaPierre. Just gonna put that out there. That man can vacation. But like, why shouldn't he? Like, he should be able to vacation. Let the man travel on his own private jet to the Bahamas. I mean, if people are...
Doesn't he have several private jets?
Probably. If people are like kind of like dumb enough to keep supporting the NRA like that.
Yeah.
So we've had a couple of comments come up here, and I just want to kind of address them quickly because they're in this same vein.
Look at you, Pat. Thank you.
So, yeah, no, absolutely. So in terms of who is going to be in charge of training, I guess the state is going to determine who meets the qualifications. And they've already kind of laid out some various people who might be qualified. People who have instructor certifications through the military were on the list, and people who are obviously working for the Department of Criminal Justice Services as instructors, or people who are duly authorized through, like, the 4-H club was another.
Which, again, just blows my mind that, yeah.
So 4-H can, if you have a 4-H instructor certification, then you would be, as of now, a duly certified instructor.
I looked into the first time all this was kind of going through, where they were talking about removing because this does come up like every year. It came up last year too.
They really want to restrict your ability to train in any capacity whatsoever.
Right. And that is a scary thing. You know, again, because any group, think of any nationwide group that's going to put out a curriculum. Think about the liability and the lawyers that had to have been involved. You know, so like, say what you want about the NRA, they're not going to put training out there that's going to be wrong or bad or whatever. I mean, they have lawyers out the wazoo.
They are amazing for beginning shooters too.
Like, right? Yeah. 4-H. I mean,
shooters.
I looked into.
I think there's other stuff out there, but
I looked into the 4-H like curriculum. It's copy and paste NRA. I mean, it's nothing different. It's all, you know. How can basic gun safety really be any different? You know, maybe I teach you the order of the rules different, maybe, but it's
That's-
still,
I was gonna say, yeah.
some of that stuff can be.
To me,
you know.
like, one of the things that kind of like drives me crazy is just the way the NRA briefs the rules, because they have like their 3 rules of firearm safety, and they're very like rote in the way that you have to
It's like the
kind
Ten
of
Commandments
brief
almost,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
and like they only want you to brief it in their specific way, and I mean, like, always point your gun in a safe direction is like okay advice, but like. We had that conversation, I think, when I first started working here. It's like, let's define what a safe direction is for people a little bit more so, right? Because when we say point the gun in a safe direction, like, for some people, that might only encompass what I can immediately see. And I might not be thinking that the world is a 360-degree environment. So if I point my gun toward this concrete floor here, I may perceive that to be safe.
It's not at a person.
Right.
It's not
I'm
something
not pointing a gun at you.
I don't care if I destroy the floor necessarily.
Right, but I have to account for what happens after the bullet hits the floor, right? And there's none
like
of
that
that.
wall. That wall's a safe direction.
Right.
But any
What's
bullet is going to
behind
go
that?
past it.
22, yeah, if I shoot that with a 22 LR, whatever's on the other side of that wall is in the hurt box, right? So we need to like understand what the safest possible direction is, right? And I use the term muzzle management. I just like to word things a little bit differently when I'm briefing the.
Would that be the name
safety.
of your gym? The Hurt Box.
Could be.
Write that down.
At a brothel in Vegas.
Ooh, what?
The Hurt Box.
The Hurt Box. Jesus, Tyler.
Good job.
All right.
Good dose of Tyler humor.
What else we got? We got anything else over here?
There was something I wanted to say, but typical, I was cut off.
Oh,
Yeah.
you just got to fight for your right
To
to party.
Oh, that concert we're having this weekend is going to be pretty
Yeah.
That's going to be
pretty
right,
tight.
yeah.
Did you want to talk about that?
No,
not really.
Talk about it.
Sure. I mean, we're having a concert here, and if you're cool, you know about it. Check our reels on Facebook and Instagram. I didn't really make a post about it. I'm probably not going to make a full post about it, but how many people are watching? Come down.
25 million.
That's pretty cool. Just 25.
Minus the wheel.
Yeah, mine. It's actually kind of a low string
Whatever,
tonight.
guys,
Usually we have like 40 to 70.
There was a discussion last week. There was a plan put in place to tear the building down, what's left of her. And when that plan was put into place, I wanted to say goodbye to the building. I mean, obviously we're coming back. I had put out there on Discord that we were doing like a goodbye party, and people panicked that we weren't going to be coming back. And it was, it's just, we've been here for 9 years now,
Gone
10
forever.
years. And, I do feel, it does sound corny. I've talked to people, like obviously, I've got one real close to home here. Like you lost your apartment, you lost your home, like everything you own in that fire. And obviously people and you suffered greatly personally too, not just your possessions, but that happens all the time. People lose their homes, and that is terrible, right? This wasn't a home; it's just a business, But I do feel like for a lot of us, it was more than a business. And I don't want to boast or like brag. I try to stay very humble about it, but it's true. I mean, I have been told. I don't necessarily feel this way exclusively, or like I didn't come up with this in a vacuum. Like a lot of other people have said that this place is a lot more than just
Yeah, man.
like the 7-Eleven or whatever. You know what I mean? Like this is a community space.
I've been coming here since this place was open.
Yeah,
Right?
And dude,
I brought a gang of guns here before I worked here.
it kills me. Like I have seen, Ty, I know this rings true for you too. Like I will see young men in here that are like in their mid-20s now with like wives and families and like their own lives now.
I
And it's
remember when
dude,
you were,
I
like, in
remember,
8th
like
grade.
you came in here like
Brought
as
your
a
first
kid,
gun,
like
kind of
literally a
deal,
kiddo. Like and now
we're
you're all grown up, and it brings a tear to my eye. So I wanted to say goodbye to the building because frankly, like when we rebuild her, she won't be the same. Even if we did rebuild exactly, which that's not really the plan right now, is to rebuild her exactly the same. But even if we did, it wouldn't be the same. Right?
No.
Even if we rebuilt her, stick by stick, brick by brick, exactly the same way, it wouldn't be the same building. They'd be new boards. They'd be, what's that?
Yeah.
The ship of Theseus or whatever. You replace every board on the ship, right? So, I wanted to say goodbye to her. This Saturday, I reached out to a couple. We've got like 3 or 4. Like, what genre is that? Punk?
My
Heavy
mom
metal?
would call it screamo.
Yeah.
but it's heavy.
It's heavy.
stuff.
Look up Sedai, S-E-D-A-I.
That's one of
That's the
Our
headliner,
friends.
I'm calling him.
We're good friends with the lead singer and the band.
Yeah,
They're
he was coming
phenomenal.
down here like shopping for handguns like before the fire, and like we would go to his shows at the Bug Jar and stuff. And
He's gonna be here Freedom Weekend after parties.
it's a lot of fun.
Dope.
It's crazy that like this has not been my genre of music.
I took you to
Up
one
until,
show.
Like when was my first one? Like February,
yeah.
maybe. And it opened up a tap. You know, it opened up something I didn't know I had. It touched me in places I didn't know
there we
I could be
go.
touched. I've opened up like a flower.
Oh Lord.
I'm going back to
You
the
thought it was
virtual
going to
world.
Medusa's. You thought it was Medusa's that did this to me, but no.
I don't like base reality.
But there is, there is an emotional aspect to that type of music
Sure.
that you just can't, that I have not found elsewhere, right?
No, absolutely.
And it is definitely, not to get too emotional, but it has helped me through some of this. You know, there have been some times I've been driving down here and I'm feeling down, and I will put on like some Sedai, and I'll be just going down Route 19 like loud as my truck can play it, and I'm like bawling my eyes out, like going down the road. But then I get here and I feel better, and then it has helped me. So that's what I wanted, and I know everybody doesn't agree with it, but
So that is what people get out of music, though, right? Like
It's
that is
true.
what
Yeah,
that's what a lot of
absolutely.
people like connect
Absolutely.
with.
That genre is very
in
like
general, so
it's
that's
very
good.
like you may not be able to understand all the words, but like
Sure.
it's emotional. Like
Oh,
there is a lot of
absolutely.
emotion to
Yeah.
it.
For sure.
yeah.
It's supposed to trigger that response.
They said Rob, they have a lyric like, I hope you find what you seek here. And I love it. And so they're coming out here to play. There's a couple other bands that I don't actually know. I'm not familiar with the other bands. I just know
Yeah.
they're of a similar genre. And so, yeah, I don't know. Come out Saturday night. Like, I think doors open at like 6 or 7. We're going to be here till the sheriff comes to shut us down for a noise complaint. And I think Tyler will be, some music in between maybe to like start off the night.
is
We're going to
that
bring some
happening?
stuff down. Could you? Just to have some music while the bands are setting up, maybe. We'll think about that.
Yeah.
Maybe not. We could just have the sound system.
It's not gonna be the same genre. I wish I knew.
Yeah, that's okay. So, bye,
So-
Miss American.
I love it. So what else do we have? Comments, questions, concerns?
Gone from the Blues Brothers to this, according to your mom.
For real though, that was like the Blues Brothers, like the Saturday Night Live skit, like band. Like that was what I loved. And I think you could see. I'll map out the path for that. That makes sense to me.
There's a progression.
I see it.
There's a progression that happens to all of us.
So I don't want to keep talking about music. Did you see the South Korean president? He came to America. We had like a state dinner. I think it was like last night or the night before. Like Biden hosted them in the White
I
House.
didn't know.
I'm obviously not a huge fan of this administration.
You aren't?
Right? I know.
Aren't?
I am not. I
Okay.
am not a huge fan
You
or
voted
any
for
kind
Biden.
of
Shut
fan.
the fuck up.
I will admit though, I liked what I saw. I was watching the news and I saw the state visit, and I didn't really listen to like the formal bits of it. They give like all these speeches and stuff and all this kind of stuff about, because North Korea is being crazy now. So we just want to be like, we basically just brought the South Koreans over here to be like, hey man, like we're BFFs and like fuck you North Korea, like
Right.
can't kill this friendship, BFFs forever. And the South Korean president saying like Biden and him are like up there, and obviously it was all planned, I'm sure, but like Biden like goads him into singing, and he sang like American Pie, like the South Korean president up there in like a thick Korean accent was like.
Lord.
Josiah, do it.
But he sang like the first like up until the chorus where he starts singing like bye bye Miss American Pie. But he sang like the whole intro to it, and it was like damn, like all right, cool. It was a cool moment. Like
So
people were
Biden
laughing.
just brings him up there and
It was a
he's like,
social. So then he
"Dance,
finishes. So then he finishes. He finishes his thing. Everyone cheers. The mic goes back to Biden, and Biden just goes, "Don't expect me to sing. Like, I can barely talk." He literally said that. He
love
goes,
it.
"Don't expect me to sing. I can
love
barely
it.
talk." Yeah, I was like,
So
"At
he
least-
didn't. He didn't speak in South
At least
Korean.
he has some self-awareness. No, he's singing in American.
No,
It
I'm
was-
talking about Biden.
Ah,
He
no.
didn't-
So he brings him up there.
So then he gave him, and I honestly, I think this is kind of cool. I like that, like the United States of America gives gifts like to that country, right? And they'll do that to us. Like we have a gift from whoever, right? And there's that cultural exchange or whatever.
Sure.
The United States of America gave the government of South Korea a guitar who sang, was it Don McLean, I think, that sang American Pie? Sure. He's dead now.
Tom Petty.
But I don't know how. But we have, like someone at the White House, like, somehow, I don't know how this happens. I love it, though. Like, someone made a call, and the U.S. government acquired a signed Don McLean guitar, and we presented it to them. Like, that was our gift to them. Like, we used to give out, like, guns and stuff and cool shit, but, like, I feel like an acoustic guitar is still pretty American. Like, I don't know. That seems pretty cool.
We're doing the other stuff.
We're giving
to keep pulling that thread, like, it was crazy how, like, Winchester would give, like, Abe Lincoln and all of those presidents, like, guns.
Winston Churchill had a fabulous collection of guns that were presented to him over the years. And that surprised me, being a Brit. But he, obviously, there's a famous picture of him with, like, the Tommy gun, smoking the cigar. But yeah, he had a lot of guns like that were just given to him, and he kept. What you got?
So, Rich, does your team offer basic firearms training for young kids? He's been asked for recommendations for someone to offer an alternative to the trans.
I mean, we kind of did answer this by saying we wish that we could do it. So, no, we don't. We would love to go into schools and teach this. We used to have kids come here. Brandon's actually wearing the shirt. Come this way.
We used to have a venture crew.
There was a venture crew.
Venture
there was
crew
a club
556
that we had, but
yeah, it was a part of the Boy Scouts. So, like, I've been in scouting my whole life. When we started, we knew we wanted a youth group. We knew we wanted it to be co-ed. At the time, the main Boy Scouts BSA had not transitioned to having girls and boys in scouting. The only way to do it now, or back then, the only way to do it was venturing. Venturing is for youths 14 to 21. It's more for, like, high. Like, we're gonna go on a whitewater rafting trip. We're gonna go like. We don't care about, like, the badges of scouting. They just want to do, like, scout stuff, right? That's what venturing is primarily for. Yeah. So we ran Venture Crew 556 for a good, like, 2 to 3 years. I'll be honest, a lot of it fell apart just because I started having a family and I just didn't have the time. You know, there's a joke among scout volunteers that the scouts say, like, head scouts say, you only have to donate an hour a week of time. That's all it takes. But the joke is that it's an hour a week per scout. So if you have 20 scouts, which we had, like 20 to 25 scouts, to do your program right, you're spending 20, 25 hours a week. Like,
sure,
and it's a pretty fair, accurate number of what we were spending. And it was so worth it. At the time, we had so much fun. It was truly, truly rewarding. And
we met a lot of cool people through that program too. Obviously,
we did, and we still do. One of my favorite comments after the fire. I want to keep going on tangents, try to bring me back to reality. But one of my favorite comments after
that's why I have this.
After the fire, we asked for people's favorite TFP memories, and a few of our venture kids who, like, literally are grown-ups now and have, like, Marissa, she has her own children now. Like,
she has kids?
She has a family. Yeah, dude. Like, and she just shared that she loved the introduction that she got from firearms.
That's
like,
weird.
She did not grow up in a firearms-friendly family, and just now she feels like she feels safe knowing that she can defend her own family now, her own young family. Like, it warmed my heart. But anyways, the venture crew unfortunately fell apart just because I didn't have the time. It was hard to get the parents involved, you know, because these kids are a little older. So we would love to bring it back before the fire. Obviously, like, during the pandemic, it was hard. There weren't really meetings of that kind of stuff. After the pandemic kind of cleared up and we could do that stuff again, we talked about bringing the venture crew back. The hard part is, as much as I love the scouting movement and the program, it has gotten expensive. It's gotten very expensive, especially if you only want to do one little sliver of their program, like we did, the shooting sports aspect. Like, if you wanted to run a full troop, sure, I get it. It's different. But yeah, like, for us, it was just difficult. It would have cost us like $125 per kid just to sign up. Like, hey, kid, you want to do our venture crew? It's going to be $125 just to start. And that gets you nothing other than a little, like, hey, you're a Boy Scout now. That's all you get. And that didn't seem worth it to us.
And we can't do our own because of the insurance aspect.
It's so tough, yeah. And, like, you know, we want to. We definitely are trying to figure out, once we rebuild, we want to figure out, you know, a way
I'd love to do kid
get
classes,
more
man.
youth involved, right? And the other thing that sucks with New York, when we had the venture crew, right, it was 14. In New York State, you have to be 12, which I know we talked about with your student there the other day. In New York State, you have to be 12 to shoot any kind of firearm, and it would just seem like every freaking kid was 11. You know what I mean? Like, and then, like, you need to get the kids kind of younger, because by the time they're older, they're in sports and they're in this and baseball and all the, you know what I mean? Like they just don't have the time to commit to that because not for nothing. I mean, baseball, your kids are going to get crazy scholarships for baseball. They could be at your level, like in the tactical game stuff. What would that get them? Unfortunately, I mean, it'd be amazing, well-rounded men. But right, you're not going to get no college is going to give you a scholarship for that. I mean, maybe we will, but not. You're not going to go to a D1 school.
I'd like to see when the pin's back open again. It would be cool to get some kind of, even if like I'll become not a certified NRA instructor, but I'd host classes. I love the venture crew.
I would love to do stuff for kids. The problem, I think, with doing stuff for kids is, like, it's hard. Like, you come and you take some training, and then, like, you get a little piece of paper that says you completed this hour or 2 hours of training, but it's not necessarily, like, worth anything other than the paper it's printed on, because there's no actual certification for being like a youth firearms instructor outside.
You couldn't
of,
teach
like,
the kids an NRA basic class.
Right, exactly. So there's so many things. There's so many things that like are limiting factors in terms of working with kids. I would love to work with kids, and I've done it.
They're the future, you know.
Right. I've definitely done private classes for like families and small groups.
I was going to say
like
that would be the option. Is basically reach out to us.
We could definitely set up something like that for like as long as we have groups of people that are, you know, all 12 and older with parental consent or preferably with parents like on site, like
with younger kids, people will ask all the time too, like, hey, my kid's 10, can he come in to like just watch me shoot? Of course, yeah, or you can shoot a BB gun. Like there are ways we can accomplish it. But
and as far as like
can't ID anybody under 16.
As far as like regular or as far as like training, as far as like just not live fire stuff. Those kinds of things we could accomplish with even younger kids, and we have inert stuff like BB guns or cert guns or stuff that isn't an actual firearm. So I mean, it's not that we couldn't accomplish those things. It's just like what are the goals kind of thing.
Cool.
All right, fellas. Do we have any other? Because I gotta pee and then sleep.
I mean, go pee first.
Ooh, that's it. I'm going to try that.
It sucks when you have dreams about having to go pee.
I'm going to try it in your order. That might work out better.
And then you pee in your dream, and then you wake up, and you have peed yourself.
You should be a life coach.
Thanks, bro.
All right. Do we have any other questions? McCardle, what do we got over there, pal?
No? We've got nothing. I'm tired.
Good to go?
Yeah. Let's call it.
Hey, thanks everybody
Watch the stream on Spotify.
And listening.
Yes.
Yeah, go listen on Spotify. Leave us a review. You can't actually leave us a review unless you play it. And they keep stats about who's listening, like, until what point in time. So, like...
I know exactly where you
stop. We know if you've been sleeping. We know if you're awake.
I know your social security number.
18.
Have a good night, peeps.
Bye.
Stay beautiful.